I got 3 offers. I know how much, and then
Luke and Jessica, can you join Zoom?
Council will call the meeting order. For the record, it is April 11th, 2023 at 6:01 PM. We'll begin this regular city council meeting with roll call attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Overton.
Here.
Councilwoman Perot.
Here.
Councilman Cavanagh.
Here.
Councilman Hoagland.
Here.
Mayor Simison.
Here. Next time is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please rise and join us in the pledge. We had no one signed up under the community invocation, so we'll move on to adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
I move that we adopt the agenda as published.
I have a motion, a second to adopt the agenda as published. Is there discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the agenda is agreed to. Next time up is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
I move approval of the consent agenda and for the mayor to sign and clerk to attest.
I have a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is agreed to. There were no items moved from the consent agenda, so we will move on with proclamations. And the proclamation tonight is the month of the military child. And if I could have those joining us, Allison with the Child and Youth Coordinator for the Allen National Guard, Haley Allen, Avery McIrvin, Alexis Pittman, Adam Allen, and Sergeant Moore joining me at the podium, that would be great. So one of the things I don't like to do is steal your thunder by talking a lot about what we're here to do this evening. But we are here to celebrate the month of the military child. And on April 1st, we did have the honor of welcoming a new business to Meridian, Skyhawk at Settlers Park on the 1st. And it was great being a veteran and there to support our community and families, and had some of military family children there as well. And so it was great from that standpoint. So I'll read the proclamation, then I'll turn it all over to you to talk about this month and what you're all focusing on. So, whereas April's the month of the military child and is an opportunity to recognize military children for their courage, personal sacrifices, and resilient spirit. And whereas the strength of our armed forces comes not just from those who wear the uniform, but from their families who will also serve on behalf of our country. And whereas military children continue to make significant contributions to family and community as they endure prolonged and repeated absences of one or both parents and adjust to families moving on average every 2 to 3 years and changing schools. And whereas these children and youth are a source of pride and honor to us all, and it is only fitting that we take time to recognize their contributions and celebrate their spirit. And whereas the month of the military child will recognize that military children serve to, and citizens of Meridian will be afforded the opportunity to don the color purple every Friday in April in support of these children. Therefore, I, Mayor Robert E. Simpson, hereby proclaim April 2023 as Month of the Military Child in the city of Meridian and encourage the residents of our community and communities across the country to observe the month for military kids and to wear or display purple on April 14th or Purple Up Day to honor, support, and thank military children. This 11th day of April, 2023. So thank you for being here. And we're very honored and privileged to support you in this endeavor.
Thank you so much to the City of Meridian and our mayor for recognizing this month as the month of military child. We are so proud of our military youth. They do not choose to serve or to sacrifice, and yet they still do every single day. They don't choose on where they move, but they still bloom where they are planted. We are so proud of them as they grow into these beautiful people, showing courageous and encouragement as they go through life. We are so proud of our military kids. Thank you so much for recognizing Month of the Military Child, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Well, Council, I don't think you're going to see that same energy from the wrestlers next week from Meridian High School. They seem to, they're a little bit more down, but that was some positive energy this evening.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Perot.
can next month be month of the parents of military children? That's a stressful role too.
Amen. Amen. All right. So with that, we will move into public forum. Mr. Clerk, we have everyone sign up?
Mr. Mayor, we did not.
Okay, then we will go on to action items. Our first action item up is item 9, which is resolution number 23-2382. A resolution establishing the appointment of Basil Ivanov to seat 4, Crystal Paulson to seat 7, and Breckenberg to seat 8 of the Meridian Arts Commission and providing an effective date. So council, as I always do, I sat down with our applicants for this commission and was joined by the chair of the Arts Commission, where we interviewed and found the 3 people that would help round out and fill the needs of the commission. We have artists, we have educators, we have youth in that regards. I don't know how many of you have been over to Unbound and have seen Basil, but he's over there. Definitely brings a different perspective from coming from a larger city into our local community, but also chose our community because it wasn't a larger city. In that regards for living here and, wanting to get re-involved in the arts in this community as he's now established his career. And Crystal, obviously with her focus as an educator in the arts for kids, it's definitely a different, unique aspect, or that can help maybe a different avenue for the Arts Commission. That's really, to a certain extent, you're looking for people that have skills, you're looking for people that have passion. You're not just looking for people that just want to go do the exact same thing the Arts Commission has always done either. You know, you want to bring people that have their own unique elements that they can contribute to that factor. And then Brecken is really, you know, she is a practicing artist. You know, that's really where she is living in that realm, and, you know, the view of being able to display art. You know, some of those elements that come, you know, from the artist perspective, whether it's what we do initial point or what we need more of in the community, you know, from that focus. So they all brought a very different aspect to what we can do to help the arts be fostered from the Arts Commission. So I'm excited to recommend these 3 individuals to serve in this role and capacity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
I think these are some great appointments and help round out our Arts Commission. And so, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we approve resolution number 23-2382, appointing Vassal Ivanov to seat 4, Crystal Paulson to seat 7, and Brecken Bird to seat 8 of the Meridian Arts Commission.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the resolution is agreed to. Thank you very much. Next item up is item 10, which is a public hearing continued from March 28, 2023 for Newkirk Neighborhood H 2022-0088. We will continue this public hearing with staff comments.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Happy to be here tonight with you. As you recall, this item was heard on March 28th, and the council actually requested the continuance to allow applicant staff to come back before you and address some of the concerns and come up with some appropriate conditions of approval to go along with this project. During that last hearing, there were a couple major items that were discussed. One was how we were going to handle the removal of Zimmerman Lane, which is this flag lot here, or this little sliver parcel that touches Franklin Road and runs north and south. How we're going to address the removal of that from both the annexation and the plat boundary. And then second part of that was how was the ownership or conveyance of that property to the county parcels to the west. And then the council also spent some time on maintenance of the triangle parcel that was supposed to be dedicated to Nampa Meridian as part of maintenance of the Kennedy lateral. I also had some questions from Councilwoman Perot this afternoon that I just want to provide some clarification as well. And she had asked me about the alternative compliance request for the common driveway that will occur with the final plat. And I shared with her the reason. Typically the code does require no more than 3 units on a common driveway when it's on one side of a common driveway, and then the 4th one should be opposite of that. But in this particular case, the applicant is proposing all attached units along that boundary. And so in keeping with the design theme as proposed by the applicant, we were supportive of them going through the alternative compliance process with the final plat to make sure that there's not just one single family detached home mixed in with the remainder of the attached units. And that's where we're probably going to land on our recommendation or approval for that alternative compliance request. But at least wanted to put that on the record as why we would more likely be supporting that request with their final plat. You can see here the applicant did provide revised annexation boundary and a preliminary plat with the removal of that roadway. Essentially, the applicant will be providing you an update on the progress that they've had made in the last couple of weeks. But I think the biggest lift that we made in the applicant's in agreement with is the specific condition of approval that I have on the slide in front of you. And that's the DA provision or the requirement for the conveyance of the right of way and the timing for that to occur. And as you recall, we spent quite a bit of time on that. And so Again, staff's recommendation before city council tonight is that we do not record the annexation or execute the development agreement until that property boundary adjustment is done. So we can go ahead and approve the findings, let them continue to work through the county's process. Once they have proved up that the county has approved that property boundary adjustment, we'll make sure that the ordinance and that recorded development agreement is on your agenda for approval, and that will conclude the annexation and the new boundary of the plat and remove Zimmerman Lane. And that will allow the applicant to work with the 3 adjacent property owners to convey ownership of Zimmerman Lane. And then prior to signature on the first phase of a final plat, the applicant will demonstrate that they've completed that. And we feel like that's a good compromise. I've worked with the applicant, also worked with the city's attorney's office, and we feel comfortable with this language tonight. Again, the applicant also met with Nampa Meridian Irrigation District, and they have informed them that they do not want the triangle property as I previously discussed or disclosed at the last hearing. So essentially, staff is recommending that you strike DA provision 1C as it is no longer relevant, but staff would recommend that you add a new condition of approval that the amended plat or whatever phase, second phase of the final plat, the applicant would include that as a common lot, and it's to be owned and maintained for a owners association, which is consistent with the UDC. Again, those were the outstanding issues. Staff's new condition that I just mentioned to you and the one presented to you tonight on the screen is what we're recommending for changes. And I'd happy to stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Bill. Council, questions for staff? Okay, thank you, Rich. Would the applicant like to come forward to make any comments?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good to see everybody. Keith Clark, 251 East Front Street in Boise, representing the applicant. And I will be quick. But, essentially what we're trying to do tonight is to just kind of give you an update from what we discussed a couple weeks ago. So as mentioned before, just to kind of make sure everybody's back up to speed, this is a project we feel strongly meets the goals of the 10-mile plan. We worked through all of these oddities and challenges of the site. We are providing the mid-mile collector, which is very important for the area because it unlocks the traffic solutions that are needed in that area. We have the 35% open space, but still hit the density targets. And we've got a variety of housing types, including the alley loaded that has been discussed at the last hearing. And again, we are in agreement with planning and zoning's recommendation and staff's conditions. So just to kind of bring you up to speed on the items that we talked about 2 weeks ago. As Bill mentioned, we have been in touch about the condition regarding Zimmerman Lane and the land transfer, and we're in agreement with that language. With regard to the Zimmerman Lane transfers that actually going to happen, we've had additional conversations with all 3 of the property owners that'll be receiving property. We've prepared an LOI with each of them. 2 of them have signed. The third one, it's out at his attorney's office for review, and you know how attorneys are. The next piece, just to confirm Bill's points on the triangle parcel. We discussed that with Nampa Meridian. They don't want the fee. We're fine with calling that a common area. That's what it should be if it's not going to go to a third party. And we did discuss with them maintenance. There's not going to be an issue with allowing for maintenance of that. To Councilmember Borton asked a question about whether we would reach out to the apartment complex that's to the east of us to talk about maybe some sort of joint maintenance. We've sent a certified letter to the owner. We'll track that one down. In some ways, that makes a lot of sense. So, and then finally, as Bill mentioned, we have at staff's request provided the updated annexation legal, the updated preliminary plat documents. And then Bill and I discussed condition 1C today and agreed that it made sense to remove that and then replace it with the common area requirement. So with that, I think that we're all on the same page with staff. We have, we're again in agreement with the planning and zoning recommendation. I'm happy to answer any final questions, but I think we've done all of our homework so far.
Thank you, Heath. Council, questions for the applicant?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Pearl.
Heath, I didn't see the annexation legal and revised preliminary plat in our packet. So is that something that was sent just today or the last couple of days, and has staff had time to review it?
I'll let Bill answer that one.
Mayor, council, after the hearing, I asked the applicant to submit that because we were anticipating some findings being adopted on the same hearing night as 328. And so that didn't happen. So no, I did not want to get that forwarded or looked at until we had this discussion tonight. So I have had a chance to look at it. It is consistent with what we've talked about at both hearings, but I just wanted to make sure that before we put too much out into the public record, that you guys were comfortable with them moving forward with that being removed. And of course, the findings and the record will reflect those revised documents if that's your desire to take action on this tonight.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Heath. I wouldn't go far or I don't have anybody online. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to provide testimony on this item? Owners jumping up. Does the applicant waive? Any final comments? Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Pearl.
I move that we close the public hearing for Newkirk Neighborhood H20220088.
Motion second to close the public hearing. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The public hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Pearl.
I'll make a motion. I don't see anyone that's jumping to speak, so after considering all staff, applicant, and public testimony, I move to approve file number H20220088 as presented in the staff report for the hearing date of April 11th, 2023, deleting condition 1C from the staff report, which requires the conveyance of irrigation district property.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hoagland.
Bill, is that sufficient? Do we need to add the part 2 to that? Add a new condition that this lot be added as a common lot owned and maintained by the owners association in accordance with our city code. So,
Yes, please. And that doesn't necessarily need to be in the development agreement. It can be just part of the plat and landscape plan conditions.
First agrees.
second agrees.
First and second agree. Is there further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
not something I think needs to be included in the motion, but maybe a request for you to have staff reach out to the highway district. I do have some concerns. As Aviator gets punched through, we're going to create a challenge both for the school and frankly for these future residents of parents leaving the school, going through their neighborhood at high speed. So I think we as a council discussed accelerating Black Cat improvements as part of our previous conversation around ACHD improvements. I just think maybe a request to them that in light of this development, we may want to have them even start looking at that even sooner.
Any additional comments? Then clerk call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Overton.
Aye.
Burrow.
Aye.
Cavanagh.
Aye.
Hoagland.
All ayes, motion carries. The item is agreed to. Thank you very much. With that, we will move on to item 11, ordinances, which is ordinance number 23-2014. Ask the clerk to read this ordinance by title.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's an ordinance related to Kingstown subdivision H 2022-0045, annexing all of Lot 4, Block 1, Jasmine Acres subdivision as filed in Book 59 of plats at pages 5829 and 5830. Records of Ada County, Idaho, located in the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of southeast quarter of Section 32, Township 4 North, Range 1 East, Boise Meridian, Ada County, Idaho. More particularly described in Exhibit A, rezoning 8.20 acres of such real property from RUT zoning to R8 zoning district, directing city staff to alter all land use, or all use and area maps, as well as the official zoning maps and all official maps depicting the boundaries and the zoning districts of the city of Meridian in accordance with this ordinance, providing that copies of this ordinance shall be filed with the Ada County Assessor, the Ada County Treasurer, the Ada County Recorder, and the Idaho State Tax Commission as required by law, repealing conflicting ordinances and providing an effective date.
Thank you, council. You've heard this ordinance read by title. Is there anybody that would like it read in its entirety? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland, or
move we
Councilman Cavanagh.
approve ordinance 23-2014 with suspension of rules.
I have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance under suspension of the rules. Is there any discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Overton.
Aye.
Perot.
Aye.
Cavanagh.
Aye.
Hoagland.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries, and the ordinance is agreed to. Thank you. Council, at the end of future meeting topics? Or do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.